Gilliam, Randolph, Shabazz, Tibbet, Council President, we have a quorum. Let us stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now have invocation by Pastor Alexander Smith of the Community Harvesters Church, Atlantic City.
We can all pray by our heads. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you for waking us all up this morning, starting us on our way, giving us the use and the activity of our limbs. We thank you for being clothed in our right minds. We thank you, Lord, for this is the day that you have made. We will continuously rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you, Lord, for this council meeting, I believe the last meeting of 2017. I just ask you to bless every item on the agenda. Most of all, Lord, I thank you for a changing of the guard. I thank you for our current mayor, but I thank you also for the newly elected mayor, all the newly elected council officials, Lord. I ask you to just continue to let your will be done in all of our lives. Continue to bless them, Lord, as they lead this great city, as we get back to where we once was. I just pray that they lead us with wisdom, they lead us with knowledge, and they lead us with understanding, Lord. I even pray, Lord, that they do justly, that they love mercy, and that they walk humbly, Lord. I pray a special prayer for our mayor. I just ask you, our newly elected mayor, I ask you to cover him. I ask you to strengthen him, God. I ask you to order his steps. I even ask you, Lord, to put the right people in his corner. I even ask you, Lord, to give him the spirit of discernment, that he will be able to discern the good from the bad, and that he will be able to make the right decisions on the behalf of the people of the city of Atlantic City. In Jesus Christ's name I pray and I thank you. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law by the city clerk sending to the press and the Philadelphia Inquirer on January 6, 2017, and published on January 9, 2017, and to the Star Ledger on January 19, 2017, and published on January 21, 2017. A list of the meetings for the Council of the City of Atlantic City, including notice of the meeting scheduled for December 13, 2017 at 5 p.m. in the Hank Tyner Council Chambers, Room 206, City Hall, 1301 Bacharach Boulevard. And also a copy of said notice was posted by the city clerk on the bulletin board, main lobby, first floor on the same date. All of the aforesaid complies with NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, known as the Senator Byron M. Baer Open Public Meetings Law, and NJSA 40:69A-179. This is a regular council meeting of the City Council of Atlantic City. Before we begin, please be aware of our rules in this chamber. All persons are to be seated unless all seats are filled, in which case you may stand against the wall in orderly fashion. We are asking that all gentlemen remove their hats. All persons are to remain quiet during these proceedings. This is so that everyone is able to hear what is going on. Please turn off all cell phones or set them to silent. No one shall speak unless they are invited to do so by Council President. Shouting, interrupting, speaking out of turn, or acting disorderly in any fashion will not be tolerated, and anyone doing so will be removed from the meeting. When and if you are invited to the microphone to speak, please state your name and address. You will be allotted 3 minutes for comment. Please respect the time for other persons and end your speech within the 3 minutes allowed. If it is your intention to ask a question of council, you will be permitted to ask a maximum of 2 questions. Your questions are to be clearly stated, and after the questions are asked, you are to take your seat. The council president will determine if the question can be answered and by whom. Finally, please understand that there will be no personal attacks or name calling. If you do so, your time will immediately be cut short and you may be asked to leave. Council President?
All right, just, see, I gotta get used to it too. We gotta press a button now. Just so everyone will know, we're gonna, housekeeping items, the solicitors recommended that we postpone Ordinance 41. I know a lot of people were here for that, so I just wanted to let you guys know Ordinance 41 will not be entertained tonight. And before we get into these next few presentations, a while ago, council unanimously approved the ordinance to name the council chambers after the first city council president under this form of government, Henry Hank Tyner, who was an outstanding gentleman in the city. So we're going to have his family come up. As you see, the letters behind us and out in the hallway in between the doors. So tonight will be the official dedication. So we're going to have Prosecutor Damon Tyner and his family come up to say a few words.
Good evening, City Council. I want to thank you for having us here this evening. With me this evening, I have my brother Michael, my sister Lynn, my sister Cheryl, my niece Keena, my aunt Dee, my father-in-law Herb Milan, and other family members and friends that might be sprinkled throughout. Reverend Hendricks, our cousin. I won't take too much of your time, but we thanked you earlier when the resolution was passed. It looks tremendous, the final product, as well as the picture outside. And, it's really an incredible honor to be bestowed upon our family and in honor of my father, because the city meant a great deal to him. Just a brief history lesson, but when he served as council president, along with the original 9 council members, the town was never more divided than then. And just as an inspiration to all of you, and for those that are coming into office, the challenges that you have are nowhere near what this city has overcome. And this city is a city of survival. And I believe that all of you, if you do in fact work together, will be able to overcome any differences for the betterment of the city. And it's no better place to do it here in his honor. So I want to thank all of you, and I want to thank our family for sticking together. It's been a tough couple of 5 years, but we're all very pleased to be able to continue his and my mother's legacy of public service to the city of Atlantic City and to the greater Atlantic City region. So thank all of you. If anyone else has anything to say, feel free.
I just want to say that I don't believe a lot of people know that he wore many hats for the city of Atlantic City. He started out as a public servant, as a firefighter, and from there he went into the police department. He rose to the rank of inspector, which is the equivalent of deputy chief today, and then he also served as councilman at large and then council president. And I believe during that election, when he ran, he had the most votes in the whole city, including for mayor. So we're very proud of him. He left his legacy and his footprints on the city of Atlantic City. May God bless the city of Atlantic City and also the citizens of Atlantic City.
Thanks, Mike. And we're going to go out of order for the recognition of resolutions of recognition, and we're going to honor outgoing Mayor Don Guardian and also outgoing Councilman Mayor-elect Frank Gilliam. So, Paul, would you?
Okay. Mayor first, we have Resolution 685, and this is a resolution to recognize Mayor Donald A. Guardian.
Move it. Second.
Moved by Gilliam, second by Randolph.
Okay, whereas Donald A. Guardian was elected mayor of Atlantic City in 2013 and took office January 1st, 2014. And whereas Mayor Guardian's invocation was preceded by an ecumenical mass service held at St. Nicholas of Tolentine Roman Catholic Church procession to the Atlantic City courtyard, which was garbed in an international array of flags and red carpet, and the swearing-in ceremony. Welcomed and introduced the public in 10 languages, which set the tone of diversity and welcoming for his administration. And whereas Donald A. Guardian previously served as director of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority's Special Improvement Division, formerly known as the Atlantic City Special Improvement District. With this experience, Mayor Guardian was instrumental in developing program concepts and standards for environmental services, landscaping, and ambassador programs to enhance and improve Atlantic City. And whereas, with his penchant for bow ties and friendly demeanor, Mayor Guardian's passion for Atlantic City earned him national recognition as he tirelessly worked to save the city from bankruptcy. His accomplishments include reducing 2017 property taxes by 11.3%, decreasing the average cost of flood insurance by $190 for more than 7,000 property owners, repaving over 50% of city roads, and repairing the Baltic Avenue drainage canal. Mayor Guardian also created an employment training program which placed over 700 individuals in jobs, made great strides in public safety, and fought wasteful spending. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Atlantic City extends sincere appreciation to Mayor Donald A. Guardian for his dedicated efforts on behalf of the citizens and taxpayers of Atlantic City and wishes him success in the future. Chang?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
Yes.
And Small.
Yes.
That's 6 in the affirmative, and we do have a presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations, man.
We have Resolution 684, and this is a resolution to recognize Councilmember at-large Frank M. Gilliam Jr.
Move it.
Second?
Moved by Randolph, second by Shabazz.
Whereas Frank M. Gilliam Jr. is a native of Atlantic City. He was educated in the Atlantic City public school system and graduated from Richard Stockton College, now Stockton University, with a BA in criminal justice. He furthered his education and obtained a master's degree in social work at the University of San Francisco. And whereas Frank M. Gilliam Jr. was elected Atlantic City Council member at large in 2009 and first took office on January 1st, 2010. He was re-elected in 2013 and began his second term as council member at large on January 1st, 2014. He served as council president in 2015, was chairman of the Planning and Development Committee and a member of the Planning Board. And whereas among his accomplishments, Councilmember Gilliam introduced Ordinance number 83 of 2011 to ban the box, a national movement with the goal of increasing employment opportunities for individuals with prior criminal convictions by removing questions regarding prior criminal history from employment applications. He introduced Ordinance 44 of 2014, which established the first employment program to provide training and employment opportunity for Atlantic City residents, and Ordinance number 32 of 2017 to provide a fair chance for housing for former incarcerated persons. He was also recognized for his support of environmental issues and continues to inspire and encourage children to achieve success as a mentor, coach, and advocate on behalf of local youth. And whereas on November 7, 2017, Councilmember Gilliam was elected mayor of Atlantic City. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Atlantic City recognizes and commends Councilmember at large Frank M. Gilliam Jr. for his many significant accomplishments and important contributions on behalf of the citizens and taxpayers of Atlantic City. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Atlantic City hereby extends best wishes to Councilmember at large Frank M. Gilliam Jr. as he prepares to take the oath of office of mayor. Chang,
Yes.
Gilliam,
Yes.
Randolph,
Yes.
Shabazz, Tibbet,
Yes.
and Small.
Yes.
That's 6 in the affirmative, and we have a presentation.
All right, we're going to committee reports, if any. As a matter of fact, we're going to keep doing the resolution recognition, then we'll get into the committee report since we already did. And I'll just ask my colleagues if there's any items on the resolution of recognitions that people are not here, let the clerk know, and we will call them all as one vote.
Anyone here from Mary Morris? Amelia Trupos? Nikki Washington? Reverend James Brown? Larry Frazier? Dorothea Fields? Stop the Bleed campaign? The Small Houses Project?
Yeah, Reverend Smith's here.
Okay, so that's 635, 636, 638, 639, 640, 41, 665, 673, and let's see if there's new business.
Is someone new business?
Uh, 686 recognizes Christmas. Resolution of condolence to Joshua Webb. I believe the family's here. And recognition of Mother Ione Breathley.
Is Miss Judy Great here?
Yeah. She's
Okay.
Okay. All right, so may I have a motion to vote on the items?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Randolph, second by Shabazz. We're gonna vote on the ones not here, then we'll call them up individually for the people that are here.
And can I speak about one after the vote or
Yeah.
now? 186.
Okay, so the group vote, 635, 636, 638, 39, 40, 41, 665, 673, 687, and 688. A motion?
Move it.
Moved by Randolph,
Second.
second by Gilliam.
Chang?
Yes.
Delgado, Gilliam?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
Yes.
And Small.
Yes.
So that's 6 in the affirmative. And individually, we have resolution 677, and that's a resolution of support for the Seeds of Hope and their project of developing low and moderate income housing.
May I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Shabazz.
Second.
Second by Randolph.
Whereas the Seeds of Hope Community Development Corporation proposes to develop housing for low and moderate income residents in the 3rd Ward of Atlantic City. And whereas the need for affordable housing is demonstrated in Atlantic City. And whereas the concept of small houses comprised of 400 square foot units brings the housing market to a more diverse population economically. And whereas the city desires to increase home ownership and increase neighborhood stability. And whereas the Seeds of Hope Community Development Corporation is working with various agencies, including the Department of Community Affairs, in developing a small house project. And whereas the City Council wishes to encourage, support, and assist in the development of this project, and now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Atlantic City hereby supports the concept presented by the Seeds of Hope Community Development Corporation and their project of constructing small housing units. Chang?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
Yes.
And Small.
Yes.
That's 6 in the affirmative. Is there someone here?
Yes.
We do have a presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Council.
Everybody quiet tonight.
We have a resolution of condolence to the family of Joshua C. Webb.
You have a motion?
Move it.
Second by Randolph, second by Shabazz.
Whereas Joshua C. Webb, affectionately known as Josh, was born on March 24, 1959 in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and departed this life suddenly on December 9, 2017. And whereas Joshua was employed by the City of Atlantic City in the Department of Public Works since 1997. He was held in high esteem and earned the respect and admiration of his co-workers. And whereas Joshua enjoyed music, watching the Food Network, fishing, and collecting miniature trucks. And most of all, he loved spending time with his family. He will be sadly missed and fondly remembered by those whose lives he's touched. And whereas the Council of the City of Atlantic City desires to pay tribute to the life of Joshua C. Webb and hereby recognizes his dedicated and devoted service on behalf of the City of Atlantic City's Department of Public Works. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Atlantic City hereby joins in the mourning of the passing of Joshua C. Webb and expresses heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and co-workers during their time of bereavement. Chang?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
Yes.
And Small.
Yes.
That's 6 in the affirmative, and we have a presentation.
My dad, he had his job for 22 years, and he loved what he did, and he knew that nobody could do it like he do it, and he knew.
We just want to thank the city for recognizing him and his good work. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
We have Resolution 688, and this is recognition of Mother Ione Gertrude Brathwaite Ortiz on the blessed occasion of her 100th birthday.
Have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Randolph, second by Tibbet.
Move it quick.
Whereas Ione Ortiz, daughter of the late Zacchaeus and Louise Brathwaite, was born in Atlantic City on December 19, 1917. And whereas Ione attended New Jersey Avenue School and graduated from Atlantic City Girls Vocational School, where she learned dressmaking and design. She was later employed by the U.S. Marine Corps, where she received a certificate of outstanding and dedicated service. And whereas anyone who knows Ione knows she has been a faithful member of Community Baptist Church. Formerly, Mother Ione sang in the senior choir, organized and was the first president of the Rosary Club, and served as a senior cook. And whereas Ione's affiliations include member of the Senior Ushers Ministry of Community Baptist Church, member of the State Ushers Association, New Jersey Church Ushers Unit, advisor to the Junior Ushers Ministry of Community Baptist Church, past president and trustee of the former United Sons and Daughters of the Island Organization, member of the Hostess Ministry of Community Baptist Church, which she previously served as president for many years, president of the Tenants Association of Shore Park High Rise, and was a foster grandparent for approximately 30 years with the Atlantic Human Resources. And whereas in 1996, Reverend Dr. Samuel Madden Jr. and members of the Community Baptist Church conferred upon her the title of Mother of the Church. Ione is a very caring person who could often be found in the fellowship hall feeding the junior ushers on the third Sunday, or even the pastor on Sunday mornings with a delicious breakfast she personally prepared. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Atlantic City hereby recognizes Mother Ione Gertrude Brathwaite Ortiz on the blessed occasion of her 100th birthday and proudly celebrates her life's accomplishments. Chang,
Yes.
Gilliam,
Yes.
Randolph,
Yes.
Shabazz,
Yes.
Tibbet,
Yes.
and Small.
Yes.
That's 6 in the affirmative, and we have a presentation.
No, it's not. Okay. Thank you to everyone from my mother. She's now in Seashore Gardens, and it was just entirely too cold for this today, and we have something planned for her on Saturday. But thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Okay, we have reports and recommendations from the mayor. Ordinances number 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36 of 2017 were signed by the mayor on November 16, 2017. Council President, have we any committee reports?
Shabazz?
Yes. Council President, I have 2 reports. Our colleague, Councilman Kurtz, is not feeling well. He asked me to do his report, and I will do my report. Planning and Development Committee met on December 6th, and we discussed the items that's listed on the agenda that I would ask my colleagues for support of. That makes particular reference to Browns Park, which is something we've been talking about and got very significant support from my colleagues with regard to that. We have 2 issues with Browns Park. 675 is a resolution approving the installation of the statue to memorialize the life of Sergeant Brown. Sergeant Brown, as everyone knows, was the first African-American in Atlantic City to be killed in World War II. That the park is named after. We finally found a picture of him. Excuse me. It's my understanding that the artist is going to incorporate the picture of Sergeant Brown in the statue, and I would ask for support on that. Also, 683 is a resolution of shared services with the Atlantic County Improvement Authority for the installation of video surveillance improvements at Harold R. Brown. I'm happy to report to the council and to all of the people in the audience and the people in the TV audience that when we completed the renovation of Browns Park, one of the concerns was public safety. And I am happy to report since we opened Browns Park, up until today, we have not had any incidents. We had a successful summer. We had over 12 community events. 6 of them were movies. Hundreds of people came out and enjoyed the park and fellowshiped. And we are moving towards a full calendar this coming year, 2018. And the addition of cameras will only add to the safety and security. So I would ask for support on all of the resolutions, but particularly with particular emphasis on those 2 since they deal with Browns Park. And I think everyone can be justly proud of what we have done together on that. In addition, one of the things, Mr. Chair, that we discussed at our committee meeting is holding the people who do development accountable in Atlantic City. I think all of us have spoken on that from the dais. Councilman Tibbetts, Councilman Chan, Councilman Randolph, even and yourself, and also Mayor-elect Gilliam. What we are going to do, and hopefully for the next meeting we'll have a report, ask the acting planning and development director to go over all of the approvals we've given since 2015 and 2017 from the developers, so we can take a snapshot of where they're at and see how they are implementing the agreements that we have given them from the city, and to ensure compliance. If compliance has not been met, and if it has been met, to understand where we're at. So hopefully we will have that. Finally, for my report for planning and development, one of the dealt with in planning and development, and the council has approved resolutions for him, and I thank everyone for their support. He is announcing a project that's going to happen in Atlantic City, and it's called Project Impact AC, and it's by the Gery company. They are the developers of a 250-unit apartment house in Councilman Randolph's district. It's going to be 200 market rate units, 50 affordable units. Project Impact AC is going to be an apprenticeship program that is currently in New Jersey, in North Jersey, in Jersey City, Elizabeth, and Newark. It will begin in Atlantic City in 2018. The goal is to train 100 to 150 Atlantic City residents during the calendar year of 2018. The sub-goal is to have 15 to 20 Atlantic City residents enter the unions as apprentices. Why is that important? Obviously, training is very important because it helps people be ready to work on the projects that exist. But a goal that we on the committee want to foster is to get people in the unions because that gives them a career. Mr. Gery has committed to cover all of the union initiation fees for residents who are accepted into the program. The first job fair will be held in mid-January in Atlantic City, and the training will be done in 3 houses of worship in Atlantic City. So we're very happy to announce that, to underscore that, and as we move forward with our review of the developers who come to Atlantic City, we're going to attempt to make sure that in their agreements that they hire Atlantic City people, that they train Atlantic City people, and they work with us to try to get people in the union. That is my report, Mr. Chairman, for planning and development. Okay. Do you want me to wait for Councilman Kurtz, or do that now?
We can give the expedited version of the license inspection.
Yes, sir. The expedited version of license and inspection. I apologize for taking the time. I think it's important because everybody on this dais has talked about development and how we should handle that, and our committee is making an effort, Mr. Chair, to make sure that we do that. Information Technology, Health, and Human Services and License and Inspection, chaired by Chairman Kurtz. He has, I believe, 4 items on the, no, I'm sorry, there's about 6 items. And it's a jitney transfer, a license renewal for massage parlor and for 2 massage parlors, and shared services. I would ask for support on all these, particularly the shared services, and 672, excuse me, which is a demolition, Mr. President, of the Bayview Inn, I think better known as the Alligator Inn. And we need to take that down. It's a gateway to the city, and we want to take it down not only for beautification reasons, but for public safety and health. That's the expedited report from Councilman Kurtz, Mr. President.
Nice job.
Thank you, sir.
Randolph?
Yes. Public Works met Wednesday, December the 6th, and we have for discussion items for Public Works a resolution to award contracts to America Incorporated to pick up electronic waste at no cost to the city. And we request to provide residential recycling cans, small and large, which they should be coming in sometimes this week, and we have a list that they'll be going off of, and they should be going out sometimes next week. Public Safety Bungalow Park Civic Association will be holding their December the 14th Christmas party. They'll have a fire truck, and they'll ride the first ward, and they'll give out candy canes, and they'll have a party, and they'll give out toys to the kids. We also have a resolution to award a contract to the Atlantic City Rescue Mission to provide shelter to the homeless citizens. Resolution to accept cops and shops grants. A resolution to authorize ambulance services at no cost. Installation of surveillance cameras at Browns Memorial Park. Additional funding will be needed for that. And we received complaints from senior citizens regarding people congregating outside of certain corner stores near 1313 Baltic Avenue, and we addressed that with the chief. ACPT continues to meet with merchants on the walk to address their concerns, and ACPD will present a crime map and demonstration to city council members in executive session, and that'll be tonight. That's my report, and thank you.
Revenue and Finance met December 4th. I'm going to be very brief. We approved the authorization to purchase time clocks and attendance program software with our new provider, Prime Point LLC. Our current time clocks are outdated and are not up to date with the new system that we're using, so we approved that to be installed. There were some transfers. We approved our cancellation balance. We approved the grant resolution for the Cops and Shop College Fall Incentive for $3,960. And the big issue was we had to renew our property insurance. As you know, with hurricanes, and people are still feeling the devastation since Hurricane Sandy. Rates are all over the place, as well as other cities and throughout. So it's a 17% increase, and we approved not to exceed $502,000. And just to give you an idea of what the numbers, I don't know if Nancy's here. Is she here? Yes. What were the numbers, Sandy versus Puerto Rico from the hurricane? Just to give people a...
Yeah, let her come up. Come up, please.
Come on, Nancy.
Please.
Good evening. Superstorm Sandy was about $60 billion in damages, and so far the numbers that are coming in are for just Puerto Rico. It's about $100 billion. So that gives you an idea of the extent of the difference in the damages. That doesn't include any of Florida, any of the Gulf states, any of the Texas floods.
And this is all about right sizing the insurance market, and the rate increases reflected.
Correct. It's a correction of the market.
Yes. All right, thank you. That's it. And we have one more special presentation.
Before you get off committees?
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry.
Council President, last council meeting, we had an is it on?
Yeah, like, only 4
Okay.
minutes.
Last council meeting, we had an ordinance on that we all voted for, and it was about people getting out of prison and helping them re-entry into the building. And I got a lot of calls on that because a lot of disinformation went out about that. The city is not giving anybody $800. All it was an application on what you can ask people, what information can be released on those people after they file out an application, and it's to help them to get readjusted, re-entry back into the community. I can speak for myself and probably most of the other council members. We don't want the states, everybody in the state coming here. That is not what that ordinance was for. But it was misled to believe that we were bringing everybody that was re-entering, coming out of the prison system to the city of Atlantic City. And that's just wrong. We have to help our own. I, for one, have somebody that I rent to that's been drug and alcohol free that got out of prison for 9 years now. In another 2 weeks, he'll be going to settlement on his first home. He has 3 cars now. He's a workaholic. You have to give people a chance. You look at our prison systems in this country, and they come out hardened criminals, the violence that go into those prisons, and then you look overseas how they educate their prisoners, teach them trades, and when they come out, they're productive people in the environment and just need help to be put on the right path. But that ordinance was just what you can and cannot ask people, what you can and cannot give out after you accepted that application for rent, and it's to allow people to get housing with their family, and that's basically it. So all the stuff you heard on the radio about we're giving them money and we're giving them free housing and and all this other crazy stuff that we're taking everybody from the states and doing it. No, it's wrong. It's to help people. There's a lot of people that I know that sat up here just got out of prison. They're back in Atlantic City. They're getting another chance. Everybody gets another chance. you know? And it's up to us as a community to steer them in the right way. Because if you don't steer them in the right way, they're gonna do what they know best to survive. So they have to be given opportunities, and you gotta do your best that, hey, how many of us have gotten in trouble and we just didn't get pinched for it? And we were lucky and we moved on with our lives and got past that. So I know I made mistakes in my life, and if I didn't get a second chance, where would I be today? So, you know, the nonsense you hear on the radios, the nonsense you hear, you know, read the ordinances. If you're not sure, go on the city's computer and read the ordinance before you go getting in that hysterics like we're taking. We all complain about people with drug addiction being sent here from all over the state. You know, people with all kinds of problems being sent here. We want to be able to take care of our own people. Dollars are tight, and we only have so much money to take care of our own before we can open our doors to outsiders. So I just want to bring that up. I want to clear that up, and we do support people getting second chances. We do support helping people get housing when they get out of prison and be given a second chance. Because I know a whole lot of people that should have went to prison that didn't go to prison. And it always boils down to how much money you got for an attorney. So a lot of that comes into play, and sometimes people plead stuff that they really didn't do just to get less years and to make it over because they don't have big bucks to fight it all the way to the end like a lot of rich people do. So justice is not equal regardless of what we all want to think. It's all about money and what you have to fight it. So.
Mr. Tibbetts, I agree with you.
Yes, sir. So do I.
All right.
So do I.
We have a special presentation, Monica.
Under new business, we have resolution 689.
May I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Randolph, second by Shabazz.
Resolution to congratulate Paula Gilletti, RMC, CMC, for being elected Secretary Treasurer of the League of Municipality, Atlantic County. Whereas Paula Gilletti, RMC, CMC, proudly represents the City of Atlantic City as Municipal Clerk. And whereas the Municipal Clerk serves as Secretary to the Municipal Corporation and is the custodian of records and keeper of the city seal, and prepares meeting agendas, maintains minutes, and is the Chief Administrative Office for elections. And whereas Paula Gilletti recently was nominated and elected the League of Municipality, Atlantic County, as Secretary Treasurer and will be sworn in office in February of 2018. And whereas the City Council of the City of Atlantic City desires to take this opportunity to congratulate Paula Gilletti and also to recognize and commend her dedicated and devoted service as Municipal Clerk, her outstanding efforts and appreciated more than words can adequately express. And now therefore be it resolved, the City of Atlantic City of the City Council congratulates Paula Gilletti, RMC, CMC, for being elected Secretary Treasurer of the League of Municipalities, Atlantic County, and extends best wishes for continued success as Municipal Clerk. Chang,
Yes.
Gilliam,
Yes.
Randolph,
Yes.
Shabazz,
I'm not sure. No, yes, okay.
Tibbet,
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
16 affirmative.
Speech.
In 10 languages.
That's why she was tearing up, because she can speak 10 languages.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I just hope I serve the city well and represent your wishes to the rest of the county. And thank you, council. Thank you, everyone.
Public Board.
We're now up to public welfare. Harriet Bay Dickel.
Hi, Rick. Hi, Ray Dickey, 3101 Boardwalk Avenue, Atlantic City. Thank you for letting me speak. In regard to the redevelopment plan that was tabled today between Montpelier and Morris Avenue, there's a couple reasons, and there's actually, I think, a lot of people from the neighborhood over here tonight, and they talk about some of the issues with the plan, which I think is short-sighted. But I think the most disappointing issue that I have is the absolute lack of communication with the people who live in that neighborhood. You know, I know in the hustle bustle with the city that there's a tendency to try to sometimes grab opportunities when you can, but it's easy to forget that there's people who live there. And it's not just where I happen to live, which is Ocean Club, it's an entire neighborhood. That beach has been, from what I understand, a family beach for at least 30 years. It's one of the most active residential beaches in the area, just for the whole neighborhood, not just for the huge residential building that just happens to sit across it. And to have a redevelopment plan that just concentrates on that one particular part, it's hard to understand, especially when it's never been communicated to anybody who lives there. It also happens to be an area where there's one of the few bathrooms that the city invests a lot of time in offering people to use. So I don't understand why, when you have the Tropicana here, you have Stockton here, you have a huge empty casino here, the city decides to put together a redevelopment plan that's only going to probably benefit one developer, I'm assuming one person, over 750 units directly oceanfront and hundreds of residents who live in the area. It's an entire beach. I don't understand what the connection is here of why that has to be the spot to build whatever is going to be built there. And I still don't understand the absolute lack of communication with the residents. And I've actually spoken, and I appreciate it so much, I've actually spoken to many people on the council. So this is not an issue that's been a secret to many people on council, that there's people concerned about what goes on in their neighborhood. And it's our neighborhood. I meant the casinos are great and businesses are great and you got to get revenue in. But we live there just like you guys live in your neighborhood. And we care about it. And we have a right to be part of the process. So I'm mostly disappointed in the lack of communication, to not even have the opportunity to understand the logic behind this redevelopment plan, who it actually benefits and who it hurts. And I know you guys are trying to do a good job, and I don't mean it personally, but I would just appreciate a little bit more communication and try to get a little more input from people, because we would appreciate it. So thank you for letting me speak. And lastly, we couldn't even bring everybody here tonight. We have so many people upset about this issue. We had to leave people. We just couldn't get them over here in time. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Harriet Diamond.
Hello again. I'm not going to be able to do this. Thank you. I'll hold it. Okay, I'm going to hold it. I've spoken to you before. I know all of you, and you all know our issues, which Ray eloquently expressed. I want to read to you parts of a letter that I wrote to Landgraf, the planning director for the CRDA in March 2017. I congratulate you on recognizing the necessity of meeting the diverse needs of Atlantic City's residential and visitor communities. The most vibrant tourism districts cater to multiple generations and interests without ignoring the value and needs of city residents, and your plan addresses that. Stockton University's anticipated presence in our neighborhood contributes significantly to that mix, a cause for great optimism. The challenge presented by the tourism district is that it encompasses casinos and residences along the boardwalk. While those of us who live here enjoy music and other entertainment, we still require boundaries that respect our quiet enjoyment within our homes. Mixed use along a 48-block stretch allows for accommodation of multiple entertainment and recreational options. We at the Ocean Club would like to prevent the establishment of an outdoor entertainment facility that could likely supersede comfortable noise levels and time restrictions, not to mention seriously restricting the use of our beach and that of our neighbors in the community. Logic would dictate that beach leases would respect that. And I'd like to add that during the past year, I attended many of Elizabeth Terenick's meetings where she asked for ideas for planning. And wonderful ideas were brought as far as use for some of those beach leases. And they weren't huge. It could be a juice bar. It could be sports equipment rental. There's so many things that you can do on the beach that would enhance community use without taking over the beach. So I implore you to really consider this seriously. Thank you.
Michael Diamond.
I have to do something, or it's good? Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. I know so many of you personally. My field was and is environmental policy. I've worked in the area, I've written in the area, I've been published in the area. One of the items that's very, very significant in environmental policy is noise pollution. It was not well understood until recently. And now people are beginning to understand that solid sleep during the night is important to all of us and every night. It helps to keep us in balance mentally and physically. If and when we forget that and we decide on votes up or down about noise or not noise, or trying to abide by the ordinance that exists on the books in terms of noise level, we tend to overlook the significance of noise pollution on the lives of people all over the city, and especially those of us who are elderly like me. I'm over 35. So that I would ask you, when you go into this matter, and other matters involving various uses that are in perhaps competition with other uses like at the Ocean Club, please consider new developments in the area of noise abatement that include ways to take care of the base levels of different music. There are areas of new development that allow for the muffling of sound and the changing of directions of sound. This will be expensive. It's not something that can be done by simply turning a speaker in a different direction. And so I ask you to look into these new developments in terms of noise abatement and make a condition to any use that might interfere with others in the area. Remember, we're 48 blocks, we're small. Make as a condition that they understand, approach, and evaluate for your benefit the ways in which they intend to reduce the effect of their operations in the neighborhood. And that's what I ask you to do. Thank you very much for listening.
Mary Ann Quinn.
Mary Ann Quince.
Yes.
Mary Ann Quince, 3101 Boardwalk. I as well live at the Ocean Club. And I, first of all, would like to thank you, gentlemen, for your hard work. I know that I listened very carefully to what Pastor Brown said tonight, and he is expecting, as we all are, that you will act in the best interest of the citizens of Atlantic City. And I don't want you to leave out the children of Atlantic City, because we talk about entertainment and we talk about what we can do as a community to provide community entertainment. And the greatest entertainment these children have in Atlantic City is that free beach. And the more we take away from it, the more we take away from them. And from my unit in the Ocean Club, I watch buses of children come there during the summer. And I'm sure they're coming from the summer programs here, where they spend the day at the beach. So please keep that in mind. And again, I thank you for your hard work.
Harold Strauss.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. First, I want to congratulate Mayor Gilliam and new council members. We wish you much luck, Godspeed, during the coming years. I too am a resident of the Ocean Club. And one of the things that I enjoy is sitting on the beach with my grandson and sitting next to the residents of that community. I'm on Peoria and on Chelsea with varied ethnic backgrounds. We all sit together, we all play together, and we're a community there. And I understand as a businessman that the city is looking for revenue enhancing opportunities. But let me please point out this fact. One, with any redevelopment that takes place, no matter what it is, we're going to lose, and those residents are going to lose, 60% of that free beach. Number two, Ocean Club employs 48 residents. We have $1.2 million of annual payroll. And of those employees, 30% are Atlantic City full-time residents. We strive to hire our own, and we're proud of that. And this redevelopment, whatever it may be, will hurt our property values, will hurt the people that we employ, and we want to employ more. And it is a seasonal business there of 3 months or 4 months, but we employ 12 months. So we would humbly ask you to take another look. Atlantic City has 6.5 miles of beachfront. There are many places that need redevelopment, but we provide economic and engine for this community. Besides $7 million in annual property taxes that go into the city, and we are the largest taxpayer after the casinos. We spend in the summer 2,000 people that enjoy the Tropicana next door to us and other casinos. We eat there, we play there, we go to events there, we spend money, and it's all taxable that the city gets their fair share. We would love to continue to have our beach as a family beach and build that area, but I humbly request that you take a look at the entire 6 miles of Atlantic City and do the redevelopment in areas that need it. We're fine there, we love it there, and we generate revenue for the entire city. Thank you very much.
Cliff McWhorter.
I'm well. Do I have to hold it?
You don't want her to hold it.
Hold the mic. I don't want to hold the mic. I don't want to hold the mic. You hold the mic. Good evening. Good afternoon. Yes, good evening. I'm calling
My name is Cliff McWard. I live at 650 Howard Street here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I'm calling, and also I'm a member, a deacon at Union Baptist Temple here in Atlantic City, New Jersey also. I'm calling in reference to the Ushery Center that there was a reading on, and what we're asking is, this kind of came up on us suddenly, that we would like to have this table so that we can get an opportunity to see whether or not that could be an advantage for all of us in the area. As you may or may not know, that when that building was first constructed, when Mayor Usher was here, we was on the building committee here in Atlantic City at our church. We had agreed, we as the church, that allows the people to park in our parking lot in lieu of, we were initially going to run the daycare center, happen along the way. But nevertheless, the building was constructed on the belief that we would share our property with them during the weekdays, and on the weekend, of course, they would be out of the way. And now that they know the tenants that they're no longer there, we would like to have this table so that can be an advantage for all of us. Because right now, the Boys and Girls Club, they don't have any parking. And neither do these people have any parking, and they're parking on our property. Right now, when the Boys and Girls Club let out, you cannot go down Pennsylvania Avenue safely with the children crossing. So perhaps they need to develop the property behind them for parking rather than dealing with that building. So we would like to have that table for now so we can make an assessment on what effect that's going to have on us, because we would like to have some say on who our neighbors are and where they're going to be parking at on our property, particularly when we hold the liability for the property. And when that ordinance come up, I didn't know when it was supposed to be spoke on, we will come back and make it clear that we would like to have this table for now. Not saying it cannot happen, but we need to be in discussion on what happened to that property.
You want to say something? Council President, we're all here we're on the list to speak. If there could be a change in the rules, so we can, if there could be a change in the rules that we can all speak now on the matter, could that be appropriate?
I mean, if you're on the list, I mean, you speak, your name's called.
Oh, okay, we can speak now versus when our name is called? We're all on the list, yeah.
I mean, and you can even address it on second read. I mean, you know that.
Well, I haven't been here in a while, so my mind's a little foggy.
I would like to speak on behalf of Union Baptist Temple Church. I'm an ordained Baptist deacon there, and I remember when Mayor Usher was alive, and I remember his family, and his family was involved in Union Church, and when Mayor Usher passed, and that facility was constructed, we never knew that we were going to have to go through this. As this was placed in the paper, none of us caught it in time to come here and put our bid in for the property. But the church itself would be in favor of working with anyone, but the church itself is in, Union Baptist Temple is in the position of helping everybody. That's what we are as a church family. But as it is with Mayor Usher, this would be a tribute to him. If you were to use that building, his whole family was involved in Union Baptist Temple Church. And you take Mayor Usher's name, he was the first African-American mayor in the city of Atlantic City. And I think that it would be a discredit to use it without his church family being involved. So I hope and pray that what I'm saying, if it makes some sense, I hope it does, that we sometimes forget the little tributes, the little things that we can do to thank somebody for their life's work. This is what it's all about. So I thank you for your time.
Sir, Reverend, may I have your name, please?
Hosea Richardson.
Thank you.
Robert Johnson, City of Atlantic City. I'm here also as a member of Union Baptist Temple, 15-year member, and I'm also in support of what my brothers have just said about the usher tenant. And we're asking that if this council and administration would consider pulling that tonight because of the fact, number one, that we weren't aware that there was, the city was looking to lease the building. And we didn't want not to feel slighted if there was a process that we're not aware of and able to participate in that. And the other reason is that, as my brothers mentioned, there might be some legal rights that we have, because the only reason why that center came to being was a collaboration between Union Baptist Temple and the CRDA. They had a building, we had the land. And this was before my time when this agreement was made. Daisy Ware and Ms. McClinton made the agreement with the CRDA for shared use of our land for parking. And you would think that if there was something that's going to be done with that for a lease, that we should at least have the right of first refusal, because it is our land that's being partly incorporated, to my understanding, with the daycare. So in addition to the fact that the Ushery family were members of our church and still are, we feel that until council and the city does their due diligence, legal-wise, we might have a legal right with that building and the property based on past agreement. So we're hoping that the council will just pull that tonight so we can straighten out everything, because I also understand that at a CRETA meeting, I was told that they were looking for Daisy Ware and Ms. McClinton at the meeting. They wanted to contact Union Baptist Temple. Well, they can easily contact us, we're still there. Now, you know, those folks that went on to glory, and they're no longer with us. So if there was some concern that CRETA had about the property and the building, and they were trying to outreach us, then there must have been something that slipped through the crack, because we're here. And there's nothing against the Boys and Girls Club. They do a fantastic job. We're all down for the children. But we should be given an opportunity, if anything is done with that. Number one, we feel we might have a legal right because of the land that's used, which is ours for parking. And two, that we feel should be some type of process that should go through with that for an entity to come in. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you for your comments. I'm going to ask the solicitor to please inform just the public what is the rules and the statute against religious institutions, please.
So the city did do its due diligence from a legal standpoint with regards to the building. The land is owned by the City of Atlantic City. The building was owned by CRDA. They gave the building to the city. The issue then became a lease agreement, and the statute is pretty clear on municipalities, not just Atlantic City. Municipalities are prohibited from entering to lease agreements with religious organizations for the use of the building if it's going to be used for a religious purpose. So it's pretty clear on that. There's no gray area. So that was the issue with regards to the religious aspect and the use of the building.
Thank you. Next.
Joe Hicks.
And after Joe Hicks speaks, someone that was proposing the resolution earlier is actually here, so we'll just call him up after Mr. Hicks speaks.
To each and all, I wish all a happy holiday and a new elected congratulations. But what I want to say tonight is, I have 4 boxes of toys, a whole lot of toys, and I want to try to see if I can get them to Puerto Rico. So if anyone knows how we can get them shipped there or whatever, please get in touch with me and let me know. They're all brand new toys, and when Kmart closed, I picked them up. So,
Mr. Hicks, You can
So
talk
we want to know
to
how we can get them there because the kids will need something to play with.
Mr. Hicks, you can talk to Anthony Carson Brown. He's going to do that. Mr. Hicks, he's right there. He's working on the project to send toys to Puerto Rico.
I beg your pardon?
No, Mr. Anthony Carson Brown is working on the project to send toys to Puerto Rico.
All right, is Sean here? Come up earlier. This was the resolution of recognition. We were calling people that weren't here for the Mustache and Beard Club, so if you want to say a few words and get your honor.
I'm part of that club.
Would you like me to read this?
Yes, you can.
Okay. This was a resolution of recognition for the Atlantic City Beard and Mustache Club. Whereas the Atlantic City Beard and Mustache Club is a not-for-profit social club which focuses on community service and fundraising work for local charities in need. And whereas the club is open to all facial hair enthusiasts, male or female, with or without facial hair or just clean shaven. And whereas the only club requirement is to desire to hang out and give back to the community. As a beard and mustache club, members participate in facial hair competitions representing ACBMC as well as Beard Team New Jersey. And whereas on October 4th, 2017, the Atlantic City Beard and Mustache Club held the first taco stand against youth homelessness at the Little Water Distillery. This dinner event raised $2,000 by featuring tacos, cocktails, and live music, the proceeds of which benefited the Covenant House of Atlantic City. The Covenant House plays an integral part in fighting youth homelessness in Atlantic City and the Atlantic County area. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Atlantic City hereby wishes to recognize the Atlantic City Beard and Mustache Club for their outstanding community service and wishes them continued success.
Would you like to say something?
Thank you very much.
Real cool. Nope. Mustache.
Michelle Tomko.
Next.
Okay, Joe Gekas.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Gentlemen. I live at Ocean Club. I've been a homeowner in Atlantic City for over 20 years. I became a full-time resident here 5 years ago because I want to. I love Atlantic City. I love living here. And the beach in front, you know Ocean Club, well, every gentleman up there does. On the one side is the Tropicana, the other side is the Hilton. Hopefully it'll open again to something else. And that's where the people from the hotels go. Our beach in front of Ocean Club is one of the few beaches that the locals, everyone knows about it. They would much rather be there than in front of the Hilton or in front of the Tropicana. And it's very important to the whole community and the whole city, and even persons from outside the city that come to that area. That's always good for Atlantic City. And am I allowed to ask a question also?
Yes, you may.
Okay, I was wondering just whose idea, I know you answered after I asked the question, whose idea it was for this redevelopment project, and what's it going to accomplish in that area in front of a residential building? Thank you very much.
Anyone from the administration like to answer that question?
We have Director Kaufman here.
Director Clerk.
Come up to the mic, please, sir.
There is no project in place. The plan would have to be approved by council first. So there is no specific project in place.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next.
Okay, Anthony P. Firoso.
Thank you for seeing us tonight. I thank you for hearing us tonight. Our board members did a very good job of explaining
why we're concerned at Ocean Club. All I ask is that, since the land use, please, whatever is put there, you know, that it goes with the residential area. Because, you know, it's commercial and there's residential, and we really would like to have a, you know, peace and quiet. So whatever's put there, we appreciate your help in making sure it stays quiet. Thank you.
Natalie Devenish.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi, so I'm here in support of Ordinance 43, leasing the 1010 Drexel Avenue building to the Boys and Girls Club. I am the Director of Operations. I'm also a lifelong resident of Atlantic City, so I do know most of you. So all of you already know that I don't like to speak. So when I came up here, I knew I had to say something, so I wanted to start with why I took the job. And I have a history, you know, long history. I may look young, but I'm like 22-ish. But anyway, so I took this job for two reasons. Number one, it gives me the opportunity to do more for the youth of Atlantic City. I know exactly how it feels to be in their shoes. I understand that the unfairness that they have to deal with, not giving the same opportunities because they look different. I understand that. I understand. The second part is that, to be honest with you, it is to help the city of Atlantic City. Just imagine an opportunity where you can actually have your workforce already created for you. We won't take the credit for it, you will, not us. So the goal is to truly help you and ensure that these kids have a true pipeline to academics, post-secondary education, and or the workforce. That is the goal of the Boys and Girls Club. That is how Dr. Michelle Guerrero got me into the building. She said, Nat, if you take the job, I'll allow you to do what you need to do to ensure that those kids have a direct direct pipeline to education and a direct pipeline to the workforce. Another thing is, and I'm a little remiss that I didn't say this last time I was here, but the Boys and Girls Club doesn't charge. And I know people want to say it, I don't know where it came from, but since I've been there, I've not seen a payment. Third grade and up, pay no membership fee, not $1. If you're in kindergarten through second grade, it's a $10 a year membership. And I promise you, we're not chasing those kids down for that $10. We have a lot of other things to do. And lastly, you know, for this right here, it is personal. It is personal, and I will say that. I say it because I feel like you all understand the importance of this. And for me, I realized that last time, maybe you guys in the community don't understand why we want the building. So I'm going to address it publicly. The reason why we need the building is, number one, we have a wait list of kids that we can't let in the building. The Mayor Ushery building will allow us the space to move those kids from Pennsylvania Avenue to Ushery. We want to take our current building on Pennsylvania Avenue and make it a teen center. So for those of you who do not know, there's no real place for the teens to go back to school. And we do offer teen services, but they can't get in the building till 6 o'clock. So imagine a building that only for teens, 13 and up, to go into that door and have something to do, homework, workforce development, college preparedness, all of that stuff specifically for teens. We talk about ways to reduce the crime and give kids opportunity. This is the opportunity. And because this is the opportunity, I ask all of you to support this ordinance and vote yes. I truly hope you do. The kids truly hope you do. And I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tasha Devenish.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I hate to go after another Devenish. On my way here, I said, do I have to beg the council to give this building to Boys and Girls Club? But I will, because these kids are worth it. I'm a mentor for this program for ages 6 to 8. And on Saturdays, and some of our teenagers, they come back because they don't have anywhere else to go. So this is why I support the Boys and Girls Club getting that building, because whether it's essay writing, whether it's applying for those scholarships, just building them to be better than we are, and getting them ready to run these Fortune 500 companies, and building them with the confidence to stand with the best of them when they get to that next stage in life. And let alone when Natalie won't say, yes, she is the director of the Boys and Girls Club, but she personally, this fall, She took her time and not only sat with these children, but helped them apply for scholarships, and they received over $500,000 in scholarships. And she doesn't like to take the credit, but not only do I pat her on the back, I pat these kids on the back because they applied themselves. Give the Boys and Girls Club the opportunity to make a difference, because everybody sitting in this panel and on this room is ready for AC to make a change, and we have to start somewhere. See, for me, it's not political, it's not personal, it's about the purpose. And the purpose, to me, is for these kids, because we gotta do better. And I know we have some CEOs, lawyers, and doctors, and everything else sitting in the back of this room. And I can't look at any of them in their face and tell them that anything else to do with their building is more important than their future. So I hope that you guys sit there and really think and take it into your heart and do what's right and give the Boys and Girls Club that building. Thank you.
Amiel Reeves.
And don't be that nervous. You're not the paper. You can take it out.
No. My name is Amiel Reeves, and I am speaking on behalf of my mother, who cannot be here, and behalf of the Boys and Girls Club, buying a land, I think. To whom it may concern, it was my intention to attend this meeting and verbally applaud the services provided by the Boys and Girls Club. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, I am unable to attend. Saying that, I did not want to pass up the opportunity to express my appreciation. I'm a single mother of 5, and all my children have at one time been enrolled at the club. Most recently, my son Zaire was a participant in the Youth of the Year program and received a $3,000 scholarship, as well as a donation from Margaret Jewelry Center, and is currently attending Stockton. His first employment was with the Boys and Girls Club after volunteering for a bit, and the club had a heavy hand in molding him and preparing him for the future. He has many mentors there and remains in contact with them. Due to the networking the club provided, he was able to gain employment at a local restaurant that, quite honestly, he likely would not have had if not for the Boys and Girls Club. He will be applying again this summer to work with the kids while he is home from school. My younger 2 boys, Adrian and Amiel, also work at the club and currently are in attendance. Both are hoping to follow in their brother's footsteps and plan to also participate in the Youth of the Year program. My youngest, Eliza, is only in her 3rd grade. However, I see her on the same path as her brothers as well. I have a stepson, Devin, who was heading in a negative direction in his mid-teens, and once getting involved with the Boys and Girls Club, changed course, and we are very proud of his accomplishments as he has achieved thus far. I am not sure where he would be right now if he hadn't been able to attend the club. All in all, my children, stepchildren, and grandson have had so many opportunities and positive experience because of the Boys and Girls Club. It is rough for kids growing up everywhere, and even rougher for the parents who have to worry about their children and can't be with them every hour of the day to keep them safe. I have been so lucky to have the club to back me up. From help with homework, learning to cook, learning about finances, summer vacation, the list goes on and on. My kids have seen things and been places I never could have showed them or taken them thanks to the club. I am forever indebted to the Boys and Girls Club regarding the hand they have had in helping raise my children and keeping them off the streets. I know for a fact that much of my children's achievements are due to the time they have spent at the club. There's no other institution I would support 150% as I do the Boys and Girls Club of Atlantic City. I love to see it expand and be able to provide even more to the opportunity to children and teens in the community. The streets are no place for kids, and the Boys and Girls Club give them a purpose, a family, security, and positive experience that will carry with them throughout their lives. My deepest gratitude to everyone involved. Sincerely, Tommy Marshall.
Joseph Broadcheck.
Good evening. I'm a resident of the Ocean Club, and I wanted to thank you for your hard work. I want to thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. Obviously, as a resident and owner there, I am concerned with what's going to happen to the beach in front of us. But understand, it's not an Ocean Club beach, it's a community beach. Parking is available in that area. Any given day during the summer, it's families. It's not just people from the Ocean Club. So I'm disappointed also that we weren't involved in this. You have 750 units there, 750 owners, and there was no communication whatsoever, which is disappointing. I have one question I'd like to ask if I could, and that is why that stretch of beach as opposed to parts of the beach that are farther north where it's commercial areas only? Thank you.
Bill Blachter,
Excuse me. Excuse me, well, we're gonna get you an answer, sir. Give us a second.
Thank you.
Can, you wanna answer this question directly? Batter up.
Step in front of the mic.
Ben Kaufman, the Acting Director of Planning and Development.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman.
So this was brought to us along with a few other, I don't recall the name of the developer, but this was brought to us months ago. And in order for any redevelopment agreement to proceed, there needs to be a redevelopment plan in place. As of now, there's no project per se, but it allows for certain uses like expanded dining and things of that nature. So the redevelopment agreement would have to come back before council. So at that point is when really the public starts to get more involved.
Hey, Ben, so that this group is clear on what has transpired. Because there's interest in a development project, and the city hasn't went into depth in saying that we are going to agree with the project. It's just in conversation mode right now, correct?
So I wouldn't even say we've gotten that far yet. We're basically setting the stage for an eventual redevelopment agreement if one was to be supported.
So that they're educated in the process. Once it gets to that point, that's when open and public comments are in play. And I think that somehow the information went out prematurely or wrongly that it was going to be a redevelopment designation. But this is where the concerned citizens become very alerted, right? Because we're hearing two different areas with the same theme, and that's having public information out to the public in time for them to have input, right? So it's important for the community to know that there isn't anything etched in stone with the redevelopment project at Morris Avenue. There's none, right? The other thing is, in addition to the comments from the church, it's very, very important for us to allow the public to have their input on all redevelopment pieces, because that's the law. I mean, it's not something I'm bandstanding about, it's the law. But we have to do better with putting things out prematurely, because the people are here with the expectation that we're moving on something, and we aren't. That's when communication is very important between us as council, us as administration, and then the public. So moving forward, we'll make sure that the people in Atlantic City who have concerns and issues, not always going to agree with those concerns and issues, but at least you'll have an outlet or opportunity to speak on certain issues pertaining to your neighborhoods and communities. Because at the end of the day, these decisions that we make really affect the people that live in certain areas, and they have a right with an input. But I just wanted to put on the record that there isn't a redevelopment designation. And that's what he means by we don't have anything. I just don't want him to sit there and have him look like he's incompetent. He's simply saying that there's nothing in place that the city's discussing with anyone right now pertaining to the redevelopment designation.
Thank you.
No questions. No.
Thank you, Ben.
Bill Blacker.
Next.
Okay, Lyric Johnson.
Hi, how are you? I just want to speak on behalf of the members of the Boys and Girls Club and why we feel we need a teen center. Growing up in Atlantic City, we aren't exposed to many outdoor activities or trades that we can learn and apply. The teen center is our way of teaching the children something that they can use every day and giving them the skills that they need to excel in life. Going to the Boys and Girls Club, they always ask us, what do you want to do? They don't push anything on us. They don't try to get us to engage in anything we don't want to engage in. They let us know that college isn't for everyone. You know, entrepreneurship is a big thing, and with the Teen Center, they want to implement a cosmetology program, culinary, the arts. We see the art garage, and we're like, oh my gosh, the people are so talented. If we can learn more skills so we can teach the youth how they can actually apply them and make more things and engage in things that they find interesting, then it can make a platform. We see entrepreneurship all throughout social media and everything, so it's really popular. Also, the people at the Boys and Girls Club, they want to see you succeed. Also in recommendation letters, I was able to get a National Honor Society. Me and my twin brother, Cameron, back there, both going to college, and it's an exciting time right now, being a senior. Yeah, they let us, they ask us what we want to do with the trips and everything. I feel like the Teen Center is something that we need. We need more space. You know, it's kind of an inconvenience to share the building with the younger kids, and we can't always do what we want to do. We have to have like separate activities. It's not enough space, and the Teen Center is just something that we need as a. Thank you.
What school are you going to?
Me?
Yes.
Got accepted into Fairleigh Dickinson University.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Stephen Young.
Good evening. First, there's three issues I want to talk about today. One of them is I want to especially thank the mayor-elect, Frank Gilliam, for Sunday's event. There was a worship and celebration with the newly governor-elect Phil Murphy, Reverend Al Sharpton, and Elizabeth, the New Hope Baptist Church. You really represent Atlantic City very well, and we really appreciate that. And we're proud of what we're talking about doing and moving forward. And one thing that Reverend Sharpton talked about is very important that we're going to do from the grassroots level all the way to Washington, is that accessibility is very important. Transparency is really important, as well as accountability. And those are three things we want to continue to do with government. Because after all, it's the people's monies that the you as public servants actually have that's been spent. So we want to also ask for a forensic audit from the state all the way down. Too much money has been coming out of Atlantic City that we don't know where it's going, how it's spent, and our taxes are high. If there's a forensic audit, maybe someone can find out or find a way to keep the dollar here so our property taxes can stay down. And if someone's been doing anything illegal without public funds, whether it's the governor, Chris Christie, or anybody else, they need to be dealt with criminally. And that's very important because it's the people at the grassroots level and the poor people that's been suffering the most in our communities, especially the taxpayers and the property owners. So it's time that we ask for a way to look at that and it be transparent in government because it's the people's money that we're talking about. And that would help stabilize our community and the state can get out of here and we can take care of our own if we know where the dollar's at and we can be able to keep them here. So then we'll have our sovereignty back and we'll have the taxes down. So there's a solutions to some of the problems, but how do you get there? This is something that we're proposing, a forensic audit. Look it up, research it, and implement it and make it happen. Last but not least, Councilman Shabazz, you mentioned on the 3rd Ward of Browns Park, the swing that we talked about. There's been a swing that's been broke. Now it's removed. If we can't fix a swing, how can we talk about fixing the rest of the city? Where are we with the swing? We talk about the children, we talk about the youth, but let's talk about one swing. Well, I mentioned it before about a warranty. When you purchase something, isn't a warranty that say you can fix it in at least 30 days? It's been over 120 days almost. Where are we again?
Mr. Young, is the Director of Public Works here? That's in the Public
Mr.
Works.
Young, you asked your question.
That's the one question.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to sit down then? I have a seat.
Who?
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Kaufman will answer your question, Mr. Young, with regard to Browns Park.
Spotlight tonight, huh?
Yeah.
Are you getting 94,000 a year now?
The swing was inspected about 2 weeks ago. It was unable to be repaired, so it had to be taken down. The part's been ordered and should be installed within the next week or so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let me just add to that. You can sit down, Ben. Let me just add to that. I hear you, Mr. Young. I am concerned about the playground equipment too. We can give you a copy of the contract with regard to the playground equipment. It's all public record. But just because the equipment broke, I don't think that is an indication of the seriousness of the city with regard to Browns Park. We put a lot of money in Browns Park. The chief of police, and I'll say that publicly, has developed a superior plan in Browns Park for the safety. The police frequent Browns Park and work with the kids and play with the kids through the summer. So I am proud to say that the city, in my estimation, has done a very good job with Browns Park, and we're going to do better. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. But we are making a good faith effort, and more than that, if you check with the people in the area, which I do, they are happy with the facility, with the fact that it has accessibility and safety, and hopefully with my colleagues' support tonight with the, when we get the cameras in there, it'll even be more safer, and we'll have a program that we will be proud of. And I think that Browns Park is something, I remember the bad days of Brown Park. It was a little more than a year ago when we, that incident went viral. And if you look at Browns Park today, I defy anyone to say that it's not 200% better than it was before. And it's going to be even better.
Councilman Shabazz.
Yes, sir.
Those are some very true and strong words. But when it does, I really think that when we purchase stuff, we should be able to get a faster turnaround, specifically because of all the work we put in to making that park what it is. And I commend you and us for making sure we have a park. We're about to put a piece up there that basically gives Sergeant Brown some recognition.
Yes, sir.
So those things are definitely in place. But from a standpoint of us spending our money and the amount of money that we spent, we should get a turnaround time a lot faster when things break.
I don't disagree.
And I don't think that that's a dig at us. I think it's more so how we spend our money. I think the public is saying they should be able to see, because when we tout about millions of dollars being spent on projects, then it should be something in play that allows us to get that $1 million worth of money's worth of warranty or what have you. But we've done a great job on that park, and the park is going to end up being an iconic park, because at the same time it was an iconic park for so many years of negativity. Now it has life. But that one particular piece, it's menial, but at the same time it means a lot due to the fact that there's money being paid. But nobody's going to use that park that piece right now during the winter. But moving forward, when we buy things and purchase things, we should have some kind of warranty that allows us to get our product and our money worth a lot quicker.
I agree with you totally.
Council President. Council President, and this is a perfect example of good and cheap is never used in the same sentence. Here you go, using the contractor. Not only did this guy take the money out of the city, he took it out of the state. You hire a contractor from out of the state because his price was cheaper. Well, if the people in the contractor's prices here are higher because their taxes are higher, their workers' comp is higher, their everything is higher, you know, use the local guy, even if it costs a little more, because then you get somebody that comes out the same day when that problem happens. How much is a new swing? Why couldn't they just buy a new swing and send a new swing out and send the other one back to the manufacturer? But again, this happened at the Chelsea Heights playground where we had to threaten the guy to get the job done because he just walked away from the job for almost 2.5 months. Now you hear Browns Park, you can't get the guy back within 3 to 4 weeks to come look at a broken swing. Again, it comes down to use your local. We have to get contract language in there where you got to be more local. So many miles away from Atlantic City. At least keep the money in the county if you're not going to do it in the city. In this case, the guy took the money to Pennsylvania. And you can't get him back because he's not here. I'm sure the guy wants to get back, but who wants to take a 2-hour ride to go look at a swing? And that's what it really comes down to. And we have to put better contract language in there because good and cheap is never used in the same sentence when it comes to construction and stuff. You get what you pay for, and here we got very bad, we got very bad contractor that doesn't stand behind his work, or he just cannot get here because he's so far away. So I say keep that in mind when you hear me yell and cry about local contractors. Even though they're a little bit more money, remember, they're paying higher taxes, they're paying higher insurances because they're in Atlantic City. So there has to be something where maybe we could favor them because we're part of the reason with our budgets why they pay more in taxes, where the guy out in Pennsylvania is paying maybe 20% of what they're paying in property taxes here. So keep that in mind when contracts come up. And when we get projects like that, we know we need comeback stuff. Make sure it's a guy that can get here within 30, 40 minutes and not somebody that's 2 hours away.
Agreed.
Agreed, totally agreed.
Friends in Action.
I feel good.
Hello, Council. Frank was earlier. General Public, Council, come to you today because, as all y'all know, Friends in Action from the beginning of the year, we do many things for the community. From hometown heroes, through Easter, through our Unity Day, Thanksgiving, council members, y'all did a great job. We fed a lot of families. Over 1,000 families got turkeys. We thank y'all for that. Well, as you know, we don't end. As of, frankly, December the 20th is when we have the toy giveaway for Christmas for the children of Atlantic City. Okay? As you know, that's always been done with the great cooperation of our fire department, and they collect toys. I'm like, council, you have done an excellent job. These families come there, children, they sit outside the cold, but they've had chocolate with Kathy. We thank them so much for the chocolate and the cookies, and the children go with something for Christmas. Well, along with that this year, we also not only have that going, but we also have, of course, Friends in Action has the Mission Standard Secret Facebook page. And that's designed that if you know a family in Atlantic City, you can go on the Facebook page and nominate that family, those children. And thanks to Henry and the police department, you know, they go out that day with toys, knocking on the doors of Atlantic City residents and say Mission Standard Secret, and his family that knew they wasn't getting anything, they get them a abundance of toys. Well, as I said, you go right on Facebook, it's called Mission Standard Secret, and there's a picture of three little kids with little gifts. You go on there and actually type in the family's name, age, where their home is, and we'll go there. Besides that, we also do the county. So our nice little elves go out there, and we have done Pleasantville, Absecon, Galloway, Egg Harbor Township, all the way to Delaware, New Jersey. So when there are families that are in need, we're making sure that these families get something for the holidays.
as Joe mentioned about Puerto Rico, this year, thanks to Ralph Maldonado, the citywide towing, right now we're housing toys to send to Puerto Rico. Spirit Airlines is now delivering, and we bring it to the airport, they're taking these toys to Puerto Rico. So we've been working with Ralphie, I'm like putting toys together. Joe Hicks just told me he got 4 boxes of toys that we're gonna be able to take and send them over there. Thanks to our sponsor and everybody else, we're collecting to give away to not only residents here who have family that live there, to give our city here first, give our children in the county, and now sending abroad, I'm like to another whole area where either you can buy a toy for your family or food. So we say, you know what? Feed your family. We want to get the toys for the kids. So council, thank y'all, because y'all make it possible to do that. And thank you for your support and donations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joyce Molyneux.
Next.
Finish the list.
Would anyone else from the public like to speak?
Hi, Jenny. How are you?
It's Terry.
Yeah, that's Terry. We got a whole crew here.
I'm just a parent.
Can you, please?
My name
state-
is Terry Forrest Kelsey.
Hey, Terry.
I'm just a parent that's concerned about the future of the Boys and Girls Club. As we stand here today, I really wasn't aware of what was actually taking place with the Boys and Girls Club. I received a text earlier this afternoon if I could show up here and support the Boys and Girls Club, as well as Youth Exposure, which is run by Natalie Devenish and her team. Here, you have 3 young men that started with Natalie Devenish in her Youth Exposure program. They are the first class of children that started and also finished. High school graduates, and all of them are successfully in college. What college do you attend?
Where?
Rowan.
Rowan University. I'm at ECCC with the STARS program.
Jordan.
Howard University.
That's enough.
These young men are all a product of what comes out of the Boys and Girls Club as well as your program. And it really would be a disservice to the youth of Atlantic City to not allow the Boys and Girls Club to use that building for this purpose. These children have come a long way. Natalie and her team, along with Erica and Jalen, where are you guys? Come on. Come on, y'all are here. Let's go. Have been very instrumental in making sure that our young men were taken care of throughout their elementary school days, their junior high school days, as well as their high school days, where they all successfully succeeded with Natalie and her team's assistance. And we as parents, thank you. You know, I thank you, ladies, because without them, I don't know how my child would have gotten to college. They helped us with writing scholarship letters, essay letters. They gave us avenues to explore to make sure that the boys were well etiquette, I guess if I'm saying it right, you know, well mannered, maintained. They gave them speech classes, helped them find jobs. There's several things that these young ladies and some of the young men that were involved, as well as mentors, did for our kids in our community. So I'm just asking council, hi Mr. Gilliam, Mayor Gilliam, I'm sorry. You know, I love me some Mayor Gilliam, Mr. Smalls, Sporty, and the rest of you. You know, please take into consideration that these youth really need that building, and I stand behind them for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, second reading.
Jordan.
Okay, we're now at ordinances on second and final reading. Oh, Alma.
Oh.
Alma Johnson.
Hey, how you doing, Al?
Congratulations. Thank you. Hope you do a good job. You know I'm gonna be watching. Okay, thank you for listening to me. And I want to thank Natalie.
That's right.
I want to be just like her when I grow up. We need people to help our youth, and I want them to get the building. You know, we need that building, and we need some more buildings, really, because we have a lot of youth in our city. And we need people to help her. People younger than me who will go help Natalie with the young people. And we need volunteers to help Natalie. Everybody wants the kids off the street, wants the kids to go to college, wants the kids to do this. I have a letter for you to take to the governor.
Yes, ma'am.
And for you. We need to help them. We got a good city here. I want to die here, but I want to die happy. And I want to know that our youth, white, black, Eurasian, Bangladesh, whatever, are making it in our city. Thank you.
Okay, we have ordinances on second and final reading. Ordinance 37 is an ordinance amending Atlantic City Code, Chapter 4, changing the tax collector division to tax and revenue collection division.
May I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Randolph.
Second.
Second by Jimmy Chang. And also, just to let my colleagues know, just for future references, only 4 of these mics can be on at one time. And there's also a kill button where your mic is turned off. So, just to let y'all know. At least I give you a break, look.
Can I kill you from talking?
Okay.
I had enough of you, Jimmy. Click.
I always forget, man. I always forget.
Chang?
No, I'm sorry. Anyone from the public like to speak? Ordinance 37, seeing none, public portion is closed. Discussion?
Yes. What does this do? Mike?
This is part of us centralizing the cashier's office and recognition that it's not just a tax collection, it's collecting all the revenues for the city. So it's moving the cashiers out of the comptroller's office into what is now the tax and revenue collection division, and in recognition that they're going to be collecting all the revenues, which they are already starting to do.
The only reason I asked you, when I looked at the body, it had deleted all of them.
From the comptroller's division.
Okay. So that's why it also states that the same ones are going into, all right. I got
Yes.
it. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Discussion. No further questions, call a vote.
Chang?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Marsh?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
Yes.
And Small.
Yes.
7 in the affirmative. Ordinance 38 amends Chapter 57, Section 11 of the Code, regulating job titles within the city government.
May I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Randolph.
Second.
Second by Shabazz. Anyone from the public like to speak? Seeing none, public portion is closed. Discussion?
Yes, same question.
So it's okay. So 37 is the part of the code that is under the tax and revenue collection and changing the title. Ordinance 38 is under the comptroller's division, deleting the positions.
Okay.
Any further questions? Seeing none, call the vote.
Chang?
Yes.
Gilliam.
Yes.
Marsh.
Yes.
Randolph.
Yes.
Shabazz.
Yes.
Tibbet.
Yes.
And Small.
Yes.
7 in the affirmative. Ordinance 39 authorizes the vacation of any and all public rights in the airspace over certain portions of Morris Avenue.
May I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Randolph, second by Shabazz. Any questions from the public? Seeing none, public portion is closed.
Mr.
Discussion?
President, may I just say very, very briefly, this is for Tropicana, and this is for the bridge going across
Yes.
the bridge, so just so the public can know.
Yes, to connect the Tropicana and Chelsea, because for
Chelsea
those who don't know,
Hotel.
the
Yes, sir.
Tropicana purchased the Chelsea.
Yeah.
Okay. Discussion?
Yeah, this building's still taxable on our side of the ledger, correct? And the bridge will be taxable as well? It's not gonna go into the pilot, the Chelsea isn't gonna, the Chelsea right now pays on the people's side of the ledger for their taxes.
This doesn't
That's not
change
gonna get taken off of our side of the ledger and put into the pilot, right?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, does it?
Councilman Shabazz is correct. At this point in time, there's no change to the pilot, any part of the pilot law. So there's been no increase or decrease in the block and lots in that. So the fact that they purchased it after it is staying on as a taxable parcel of property.
Can I do my homework, Councilman?
All right, call the vote.
Chang.
Yes.
Gilliam.
Yes.
Marsh.
Yes.
Randolph.
Yes.
Shabazz.
Yes.
Tibbet.
Yes.
And Small.
Yes.
That's 7 in the affirmative. Ordinance 40 is an additional name and designation of Presbyterian Avenue as Demond Oski Cotman Way.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Shabazz,
Second.
second by Gilliam. Anyone, we're gonna make it all council, anyone from the public would like to speak? I know the family's here, so if you come up and say a few words.
Yeah, it's mine.
Let's go, Coach.
I just wanted to thank the City of Atlantic City Council President and the rest of the council for designating the street to Demond on behalf of all of us, his family, his wife, which is my daughter, my grandbaby, and everyone else. I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Man of little words. I'm at mine. Okay.
Call the vote.
Chang.
Yes.
Gilliam.
Yes.
Marsh.
Yes.
Randolph.
Yes.
Shabazz.
Yes.
Tibbet.
Yes.
And Small.
Yes.
7 in the affirmative. And for the record, ordinance 42 is,
41.
41.
You got change
I'm
date?
sorry.
Just about, yeah, about a minute left.
Okay,
All right.
ordinance 41 is,
All right, we'll, I'm sorry, we'll take a 5-minute recess. Is Sparkle here? Sparkle?
Sparkle's here.
What you got out of class late? Huh? You know I'm gonna put you on blast. I'm gonna allow her to speak as well. All right.
Mr. President, for the record, Sparkle was my intern.
I'm not gonna hold that against you, Sparkle. Now, I'm joking, we have a little back and forth thing.
Well, I'm here in support of the Boys and Girls Club. I have to say that a young man came up earlier named Amiel and talked about how his brother got to go to college because of the Youth of the Year program for the Boys and Girls Club. And it's that same Youth of the Year program at the Boys and Girls Club that has led me to tell my story. All throughout New Jersey, Washington, D.C., London, Puerto Rico, and he even led me to the Oval Office where I got to shake President Barack Obama's hand. Because of the Boys and Girls Club. I wouldn't be here standing here today. I wouldn't think I would be graduating college this spring because of the Boys and Girls Club. And it's their work. And now, not only did they uplift me and empower me, they also instilled in me principles that compels me to come back to my community and give back. And it compels me to come back to the Boys and Girls Club and do programs like Lead AC, where we're working with 15 young people to handle problems and deal with problems not downstream but upstream. And I think giving this, the building to the Boys and Girls Club will allow more young people to be empowered. And that's why I came back. And that's what I have to say. And I just want to say, please, please give the Boys and Girls Club a chance, because I'm standing here because of them, as so many other young people who sat right back there in support, who didn't have to be here, they came here just because of that. And so we're all here just so they can keep on supporting and encouraging our young people. Thank you.
So should we?
Yeah, should we give the building?
No, I ain't say that.
All right.
Should we end with Sparkle Prevard and I approve this message?
Oh, yes. My name is Sparkle Prevard, and I approve this message.
All right.
Okay, so for the record, ordinance 41 is being held, and that was the ordinance for the beach boardwalk between Montpelier Avenue and Morris Avenue. We now have ordinance 42, and this is to amend chapter 243, section 78.
May I have a motion?
Yeah, motion.
Moved by Marsh.
Second.
Second by Randolph. Any discussion from the public? Seeing none, public portion is closed. Any discussion?
What's this mean?
Administration?
Loading zone, establishing a loading zone on Harrisburg Avenue.
Oh, that's pertaining to the last conversation, the last meeting?
Yes, the Dairy Queen. Future Dairy Queen, I'm sorry.
No, that's the past, no. Past there.
No,
Past Dairy, yeah.
Everything had restaurants.
Has no future.
I didn't mean to flush you like that, Councilman. I got you off your square a little bit.
Leave third word on there.
I apologize.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Accepted. Apology accepted.
Call the vote.
Chang,
Yes.
Gilliam,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Randolph.
Yes.
Shabazz.
Yes.
Tibbet,
Yes.
and Small.
Yes.
That's 7 in the affirmative. We have resolution 40, ordinance 43, and this is to lease the property known as 1010 Drexel Avenue to the Boys and Girls Club.
Move
Have a
it.
motion?
Move it.
Moved by Randolph,
Second.
second by Shabazz. Anyone from the public like to speak?
Cliff Water, 650 Howard Street. We want to come back, first of all, because when we came up there, it seemed like we was against the Boys and Girls Club. And also, we wasn't asking for the church to have to be a part of some kind of organization that the city gives the property to us. That wasn't what we was talking about. But we were slightly, I think we were slightly misunderstood. What we was asking and talking about is whoever is in that property, whatever expansion that takes place, that we're gonna have to be a part of discussing that with them. And we're discussing with Director Carrera, I think is her name. Yes. And so we recognize that we do have some work that we need to do amongst ourselves so that this can be resolved, because without our parking, they have no facility. So therefore, we, I don't know whether it's appropriate to table this at this point or after we get together and determine how we're gonna go forward with the arrangement of parking and how we're gonna work together as a team in that community, because we do wanna be good neighbors. And it need not be said that we are concerned about our children. And we thank God for her coming here, because we see an improvement in the Boys and Girls Club and the things that they open to the children of Atlantic City. And so we are very proud for that. So we don't want to get out that we're against them, we are for them, but we just want to recognize that we must be and should be a part of whatever happens to that property there, because it's our parking lot that have to be used for them during their regular duty hours.
So the key is teamwork makes the dream work, right? So you
Yes,
got
sir.
together, you huddled up?
Yes, sir, we got together, and that's my first time seeing the young lady. And, you know, we're happy to work out something. I'm sure that we can come up with something. It's just that we need to know that we're part of whatever happens to that building, whether or not they accept it or not. Whoever goes there, we must be, in order for that building to operate, they must have our parking lot in order to make it work legally.
Ms. McWard, I can't speak for the Boys and Girls Club, but I do believe that they are more than willing to work with you.
Yes.
I do know some of the people on the board and the staff, and I think I can say with the utmost conviction that they will be willing partners, that they will be open and accessible, and that you can work this out.
Wonderful.
First, I want to come up and just excuse my manners because I should have addressed the council president, good evening, council president, and council members and the audience. So you have to excuse my manners. I was brought up better than that. But also, like my church member, we don't want to come up here to say or to appear that we're against the Boys and Girls Club. That is not our intent. Matter of fact, I'd just like to congratulate the boys and girls that came up here to speak. They have done an excellent,
Tremendous job.
excellent,
Tremendous.
excellent job, and they should be commended on that. We need more young people like that to represent us in the public and in private from the city of Atlantic City. And that's just a testament to what the Boys and Girls Club has done for our youth. And I'd just like to say this also because there might be some council members up here who might remember this, and there's some council members who don't. Now, for those who might remember up there, see, I was a member of the Boys and Girls Club way back because it used to be called the Boys Club, and it was right across the street. That's where I used to live at. And that started out not like that edifice that you see out there now. It used to be the Press of Atlantic City's property.
Right.
And they had a block warehouse that had two doors. And one way in and one way out. No windows. And that's
They
the
had
only
hockey tape.
ventilation that we
Used to
had.
play hockey on that.
Right.
I
And
used
we
to
had
be-
one basketball court in there. And in the summertime, we sweated to death.
That's right.
So, and I grew from that, got good experience, good learning, and then under the guidance of Regina Gilliam, she came in, got that property developed, got it to be Boys and Girls Club. So, I'm a product of that. I understand that, and I'm in support of that. But we just want this council, and I don't know if it means passing the ordinance tonight, or it means delaying it so we can sit down with the Boys and Girls Club so we can work out the particulars. I'm hoping that we can all come to a meeting of the minds with this, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
That's right.
Okay, so we want to make sure that we're all at the table. And again, you know, when the property first started, it was a collaboration between the CRDA and our church. We had the land, and as the gentleman said, you own the building and the land that it sits on. We had the auxiliary property that was there for parking. So we're just hoping that we can work this out. Like I said, I'm hoping we can meet prior to the approval of this, but everything's in your hands. And I appreciate it and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
And thank you, Councilman, but you can excuse your sweatshirt.
I think I got the green.
I thank our leaders for being attentive to us and listening. We'll do everything we can to support the youth of this city, to make some fine young men and women along the way. And I think Mayor Usry would be very happy to see the work that will be done. If we just extend this a little bit, maybe we can come up with something good to support our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further questions comments from the public? Seeing none, public portion is closed. Discussion. Call the vote. Seeing none, call the vote.
Chang,
Yes.
Gilliam,
Pass.
Marsh,
Yes.
Randolph,
Yes.
Shabazz,
before I vote, let me say that I knew.
You can't comment. You already, come on, you've been up here long enough to know that.
It ain't Christmas yet.
After the vote. Let's vote.
Pass.
Oh, man.
Now I vote yes.
Tibbet,
Yes.
Gilliam,
Yes.
Council President,
Yes.
7 in the affirmative. Ordinance passed.
We are still handling the people's business of the city of Atlantic City in a professional and productive manner, because the Boys and Girls Club mission statement says, all children, especially those from disadvantaged circumstances, that y'all raise them to be positive and productive citizens.
There you go.
Council President, this is probably the best gift I ever given someone around Christmas time. And your birthday.
Happy birthday.
And I want to commend Councilman Small for bringing this into play, because when it first came up, because of his connection with the Boys and Girls Club, folks thought he was doing it for personal reasons. And because he was a byproduct of the club, I think that he did it for more than personal reasons. And now you can see where we can work together to make sure that the community can get what it needs. But most importantly, I want to commend the administration at the Boys and Girls Club for being open to all of the input that everybody that came before you to try to actually make this work. And I had no doubt in my mind that you won't continue to have that open heart and mind to actually be the leader that you've been, and allowing Natalie to do what she do, and all those entities in there to produce some of the great things that you're producing. And we look forward to having you produce more, because at the end of the day, Natalie said something that's very important. You're actually helping us. The more you do for the community, the more our jobs become easier, because you're producing good assets to the community. So again, this is probably one of the best gifts that I've given. You might be able to call my wife and tell her that I can't give you more gifts, because I gave it to the Boys and Girls Club.
And Councilman Gilliam, I'd like to thank you for your kind words and very astute comments. Excuse me, let me be correct and respect the title. It's not Councilman Gilliam, it's Mayor-elect Gilliam, for the record.
I'd like to commend the staff of the Boys and Girls Club, in particularly one of the mentors there, Ms. Campbell, who I sit next to each and every football and basketball game. And I know good and well when I sit between her and Tracy this Friday at the Holy Spirit game that we will rejoice, because it's needed, you deserve it, and thank God you got it. That's all I have to say.
Can I say something?
Yeah, yes, you did. You jump the gun all the time, so go ahead now.
The only thing I want is two things. You cut me off?
That was a mistake.
Mayor-elect, I want to make a complaint here. Let me say this very seriously. Congratulations to Boys and Girls Club. And I used to work at the Boys and Girls Club. I didn't say it before, but under Ronald Baer, who has since passed away. Ronald Baer was the executive director, and I worked at the Boys and Girls Club for a while. And it was a labor of love. And I just want to say to Natalie, I said during the break, she needs to be commended for getting $500,000 in scholarships, and we need to let people know that we have that kind of executive ability in the city. And I just wanted to say good luck to the Boys and Girls Club and to Union Temple. I think that you should follow up. I'm sure that the executive director, I'm speaking for her now, I am sure that she will have an open door and you can talk to her and work out whatever your concerns are. Believe me, I think the council people can speak for themselves. I think we all hear your concerns. Everyone had the utmost respect for Mayor Ushery. He was my neighbor. We all loved him as a humanitarian. And he was, if you remember, his last job was at MLK as a aide with the students. In fact, my grandson was in his class.
Yeah.
So I know if Mayor Ushery was here, he would be for the Boys and Girls Club getting this facility.
And before he was ever into politics, he was always with kids, because he was the assistant superintendent of our school system for years, before he ever entered politics.
I just want to say my folks spoke highly of what I think of you.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to be brief, as the aforementioned comments by Mayor-elect Gilliam. It's no secret my connection to the Boys and Girls Club. As a kid growing up in Atlantic City's roughest neighborhood at the time, the Boys and Girls Club in my church was my refuge and my safe haven. I literally lived around the corner from the Boys and Girls Club. I have relationships today with directors, staff members throughout, because that was that strong interpersonal connection. Everybody addressed you as Mr. or Miss. And that's how I got my name, because later, growing up there as a kid, every director would say, man, you hear so much. You know, I turned the lights out every night. They said, you're gonna run this place. And it's funny, I was telling somebody a story. In the old Boys and Girls Club gym, we offer karate lessons. And there was a picture of a karate master. And they teased me, said that one day my picture, you know, was gonna be up there. And I had my first job as a kid through the JEPTA program. I made $258.97 every 2 weeks for working at the Boys and Girls Club. All the way up until I went to college. And, you know, by the grace of God and with the help of the community, I graduated college. And everybody said, well, look, one day you're gonna come back and run this place. And when a new building opened in the year 2000, I'm 2 years out of school, and I got that opportunity. The Board of Trustees hired me, and I ran the building for 4.5 years and then went on to the school system. So back to that Mr. Point, it's always the respect level. What separates Boys and Girls Club is their educational programming, not just athletics, but just the respect. You know, Mr. Mrs. That's how I got the name Mr. Marty from working at the Boys and Girls Club. So that organization has always been near and dear to me. And like I said, I've always was involved with the youth in this city from one program to another, and I just couldn't think of a better overall place to the Boys and Girls Club to expand. Knowing that the building is busting at the seams. So I thank my council colleagues. That's the art of debate. A lot of times you see votes because people don't have, you know, information, or some people thought certain things go one way. But when we understand that at the end of the day, regardless of, you know, like they like to tell us, you know, certain states senators say, make it about policy, not politics. And this wasn't only a policy move, it's the productive move to move the program forward. So I'm just happy that everyone, you know, came and unanimously voted. It don't matter how you start, it's how you finish. So I commend my colleagues for doing that. Thanks. Now, that's out the way. I would like to make a motion, and if you understand when I say make a motion, to group resolutions and new business. Bring on in the dot, may I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Randolph, second by Shabazz. We're gonna start with Mayor-elect Gilliam.
637 no, 654 no, 663 no, 666 no, 679, no. And just one for clarification to pull off, so Director Finch can clarify, 672 for discussion.
Paul, in public safety, 655, 656, please.
Pulling off.
Yes.
Chang.
I'm good.
Marsh.
I'm good. Paul, I just want to cast a yes vote for all the resolution of condolence. I mean, recognition.
All the recognition?
Yes.
Randolph.
I'm very good.
Shabazz.
Good morning.
And I'm good.
Councilman Chang, did you have any?
No, you
No, I'm good. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Okay, so we will be voting on. Okay. 652, 675, 676, 681, 683, 637, 644, 648, 650, 651, 653, 654, 657, 658, 661, 662, 663, 666, 671, 674, 678, 679, 634, 643, 645, 646, 647, 649, 642, 659, 669, 670, 660, 680, and then on new business, 654, which extends the Willis contract for 3 months as broker of record, and 668, which is award to Morgan Stanley and Company for the bond placement services. 690 and 691. And the exceptions, no votes for Councilman Gilliam, 637, 654, 663, 666, and 679.
And no to the Morgan Stanley.
And no to 668. Okay. Chang,
Yes.
Gilliam,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Randolph,
Yes.
Shabazz,
Yes.
Tibbet,
Yes.
and Small.
Yes.
So that's 7 in the affirmative with the exceptions noted. The first resolution comes from Public Safety, Public Works, pulled by Councilman Tibbet, and this is 655, accepting the grant for cops in shops.
May I have a motion?
Paul, before you do that, Paula, can you do 655 and 656 together? So
Together?
we don't have to duplicate
Sure.
what I'm gonna say?
Okay.
And we can vote on them both at the same time?
And 656 is also cops in shops, Summer Shore Initiative.
As amended, may I have a motion?
I make the motion.
Moved by Tippett.
Second.
Second by Randolph. Discussion.
I always support these in the drunk driving, but I'm a firm believer in cause and effect of things. I don't believe that we should be accepting grants that are gonna put cops undercover in liquor stores for, how many of us have, as kids, including cops and people in the audience, have had a beer before they were 18 years old? Guilty. I'm very guilty. You know, I would much rather, if this grant could be used to be out front, educate them on what's gonna happen to you if you go in there, you buy alcohol underage. Understand, you're gonna pinch a kid, an 18-year-old kid, and we got colleges coming down, we all know everybody drinks, we've all done it. I can guarantee you the cops that they put undercover have probably had drinks before they were 21 years old as well. The kid's gonna get charged. He's gonna get fined. He's gonna lose his driver's license. He's gonna get insurance surcharges. He's gonna get a DMV surcharge. And then he's gonna have a permanent record for that on his record. And let's face it, not only are you paying, the state's gonna pay for those cops to be in there undercover, which I think is blood money, I think it's dirty, I think we should have cops out front, explaining to them the ramifications on your actions, stuff like that, rather than undercover trying to pinch these kids and ruin their lives, both financially and on their permanent record. I believe in preventing it, not locking a kid up, and then I have to go pay cops to sit in court when they get brought into court as well for court time that isn't covered. It isn't covered by the grant money. That you have to pay that court time in them. You know, the whole point being is Councilman Gilliam, Mayor Gilliam, I'd much rather see class 2s at $15 an hour in front of every one of these liquor stores, handing out flyers at a much cheaper rate than ruining kids' lives because they made a dumb choice that everybody in this room has done in their life. And you know, it's all about cause and effect. Let's prevent it. Let's not put guys undercover and pinch them for buying alcohol, especially being a college town. You know what? We're going to become a college town now. So if anything, do you pull it to the next meeting? Is it possible? And find out if we could do more of a preventative thing with this grant money rather than an undercover sting operation to ruin kids' lives for doing something stupid that every one of us did, probably including those 2 cops that are going to be put in there undercover.
My only concern is, what culpability does the store owner have?
Well, you check your IDs and everything else, and if you get caught, you get in trouble, but why would you want to sting a kid?
I'm not disagreeing with what you're talking about, but the fly should be passed out the store owner too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But I'm more of a preventative. Let's stop the guys from happening. Let's not sting a kid. Let's stop a kid from doing it. Let's educate them on all the fines that what it's going to cost you nowadays. When I was a kid, the cops used to pick us up drunk and drive us home. Make sure we didn't get into trouble. That's 30 years ago. We're in a different world, a different liability world, and I just don't want to see. I agree with the drunk driving and all that stuff, but I just don't want to see a kid get jammed up for doing something stupid that we all did. That's all I'm saying.
Before the chief speaks, I just want to say this. Since I do chair that committee, I don't think that was the intent, but
no.
The chief is here and he can explain.
Well, the Cops and Shop grant is not just to target the kids or everyone under 21, it's also to target the business owner too, and to discourage the business owner from selling alcohol to underage kids. And no one goes to jail, Councilman, over this program. It is an educational program, and it is trying to deter kids from getting into a lifestyle of alcohol and what that could cause and what else it leads to.
So, Chief, so am I to understand that when you catch these kids attempting to buy alcohol because the way I read it's not what it says in here, and that's why I'm saying it. It says we're putting cops behind the counters, 2 cops at a time at 4 hours apiece at $55 an hour, paid for by the grant, of course, to catch people purchasing. So are you telling me that we won't do that and when you do catch a young kid doing something stupid, 18-year-olds, by the way, if you can carry an AK-47 and fight overseas for your rights, you should sure be able to have a beer. That's another story. But you're not going to charge these kids. You're not going to fine them. They won't lose their driver's license under New Jersey state law and all that other good stuff that goes with it.
If anyone under 21 years of age gets caught purchasing alcohol illegally, yes, they will be charged. But it's not the intent to put anyone in jail. It's not the intent to ruin their future. It's actually just the opposite, to ensure that they have a future. And we will not be putting undercover officers behind the counters to sell kids alcohol. The intent is also to make sure that the merchants are in compliance of the law. We don't make the laws, we just enforce them. If the law seems like it's out of bounds, then work on changing the laws. But we have to enforce laws, and it's to help our youth, not to hurt them.
Well, I still feel that every one of your cops have had a drink before they were 18 or before they were 21. I'm sure almost everybody up here has had a beer before that. And I just worry about, no, I don't think they're going to go to jail. Never thought they would. But the charges, the fines, the surcharges, I just think, I don't know, it just comes across as blood money to me.
And I don't disagree with you. I'm supposed to have officers legally too, but it doesn't make it right to do it.
No.
So.
I'm not talking drugs, I'm talking good beer once in a while with kids who carry AK-47s in the military.
All right, call the vote.
Chang?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Marsh?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
No.
And Small?
Yes.
And that would be for both of them.
6 in the affirmative and 1 in the negative. And that vote is the same for resolution 655 and 656. We have resolution 672, and this was pulled by Councilman Gilliam under licensing and inspection to authorize payment liens for emergency demolition due to fire.
May I have a motion? Move it. Moved by Gilliam.
Second.
Second by Randolph. Discussion.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure Director Finch came up and clarified something. It does not mean that we're demoing that particular parcel because there's a developer that's going to refurbish that and put it back on the tax
This is a
roll.
special assessment that protects us in the event that that project does not go through. There was 2 fires at that site, and under
And an alligator, right?
and an alligator.
That's the alligator
Under
hotel.
Chapter 126, we can do a special assessment for a fire-damaged property it was over $2,500 in damage. We had an estimate on this property. There's 2 buildings that were fire damaged, plus the office area, of approximately $300,000 to demolish. So what happens is, there is a developer that is planning on rehabbing this facility. In the event that they can't, if the property is not, cut the mustard with the title search and everything, the person could get fire proceeds from the insurance company and decide to walk away. So this protects us in the event that that does occur, where it does not go through. The state or the insurance company must notify the city to find out if there are any liens or special assessments. If there are, we are covered with that. So it does help us in the event the project does not go through, we have to demolish it. But it appears that there's a developer coming in, and we will see what happens. But we support the development, but if it doesn't go, we're protected if we have to demolish the project.
Director, well, Mayor Gilliam, because it's going to fall under your watch when this happens. We also got to be careful of, if the developer doesn't do it, that we protect our rights. See, there's no sewer out there, and that's why Ruffy Ford's having a tough time selling, because there's no sewer system out there. And under CAFRA with the, we call it the sewer system, the well, or septic system that goes into the ground. God forbid we have to pay to get this done, and the fire company don't pay us all. We got to protect our rights that could be built using the existing septic system or under those codes, because once you tear it down, they take away your rights as septic systems under CAFRA rules and regs. So we don't want to get stuck with a piece of property that's worthless because there's no sewer there. So if it ever comes to a tear down, to make sure we protect the rights of having a sewer system out there.
Well, I believe once it's torn down, you can't rebuild.
Yeah.
That property, it's no probability you won't be able to rebuild
So
it.
it will be worthless if
Yeah.
we pay it.
So you're going back to when they used to say ice capades? One of the bikes coming soon.
It'll end up being a city parking lot for tow cars or something.
Could be alligator world. You know?
Could be alligator world, yeah.
All right, call the vote.
Chang,
Yes.
Gilliam,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Randolph,
Yes.
Shabazz,
Yes.
Tibbet,
Yes.
and Small.
Yes.
That's 7 in the affirmative. And now that brings us to executive session, which is amended to reflect, we have A, crime mapping demonstration, and B is added Condi for discussion.
It's Condi v. City of Atlantic City.
Condi,
V. City of Atlantic City.
Condi V
V.
versus City of Atlantic City.
I'm sorry.
All right, may I have a motion?
Move it.
Second. Moved by Randolph, second by Shabazz. Okay.
Chang,
Yes.
Gilliam,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Randolph,
Yes.
Shabazz,
Yes.
Tibbet,
Yes.
and Small.
No.
6 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. About how long, please?
Chief, how long? 10 minutes? Okay. Then it should be 10 minutes, because mine is 30 seconds.
Oh, we're gonna hold you to that.
What's
We gonna hold you to that.
Bring the timer back there, please.
30 seconds, that's all I need.
Anthony,
You remember that time I told you?
All right. We back on,
Yes. Back on?
and there was no vote matters in executive session. I would just like to say to the public, on behalf of the whole city council in the city of Atlantic City, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Second.
By Randolph, second by Chang. Adjourn.